What up, party people? My name is Christopher Alexander Robert Clark-Youngblood. Today is Wednesday, July 8th. Pimple on my forehead. A pimple on my temple. Pimple on my temple. Today is Wednesday, July 8th, 2026. Coming to you live and direct from Burbank, California. Let's get the, address the elephant in the room. The United States of America men's national soccer team has lost to Belgium in what can only be described as a embarrassing performance in Seattle, the home of head coach Mike McDonald, nonetheless, a castle of champions, and we embarrassed ourselves. I don't know what to say, man. They look like the fucking worst case scenario for the United States men's soccer team. Like, bumbling, confused, not communicating, unable to like gain their first touch, just making like super amateur. Dude, it was a fucking nightmare. It was a nightmare. Honestly, the team. Let me try to my mic is like all coiled up. 1 second. The team got worse throughout the entire World Cup. Every game they got worse. Culminating in that fucking disastrous performance. I think the Trump thing got to them, dude. It seemed like they're totally rattled mentally. Obviously, they're nervous and felt the pressure, but the whole tournament there got to be nervous and feeling the pressure playing in the World Cup in the United States. I think the Trump shit got to them. Trump stepping in and suspending the suspension of Flo Balogun. I imagine the locker room, like, they're all kind of politically on different pages, and so some of them probably thought it was the shit, and then some of them probably this is pure speculation. This is where my mind goes, though. It's like the team had so much chemistry and unity and, like, kind of operating under a collective mind and consciousness. It just seemed like all of a sudden they weren't on the same page. Like, what could possibly bring them to that point? I guess there's also the factor of, like, they're preparing without Flo Balogun for several days up until I think it was like the day before the tournament. All of a sudden, now their best player is, and central attacker is back on the team. They had a game plan going for several days, probably in practice and everything. It's like, okay, now we're back to this. So maybe that threw them off. But dude, they were so bad. Like, they were so amateurishly bad. I wonder if also it's like they were divided. Like, did they get in arguments? Were they, because of all this, was there like some sort of philosophical, insane fucking thing for the President of the United States to step in with, FIFA, which, historically one of the most corrupt organizations on the planet, but it's basically a government within itself. It's so big, and that's what happens with big organizations. Not to go down that whole rant right now. Kind of too tired. Anyway, I don't have like my juice. I feel good. I feel calm, but I don't have my juice to go on like crazy rants right now. Back training jiu-jitsu, I think. Trained late last night. I usually train there in the afternoon. Trained late last night, and now I'm like, I need to get this podcast out. Anyway, the fucking team sucks. They blew it, man. They fucking blew it. And it was Belgium. That's a highly beatable team. So, super disappointing. Happy birthday to America regardless. 250 years of kind of freedom and liberty. I do believe this country is listen, as long as we're playing like this nation state game of these almost kind of arbitrary lines in the sand that we call country, and then have some sort of governing institution that controls a monopoly on violence to enforce taxation and provide, some spectrum of services to the populace. As long as that's the game we're playing, this like nation state government sovereign nation game, I do think the U.S. is like our best and brightest hope. Speaking of the World Cup, right? That's what it is, like a competition among a friendly competition, a sporting competition among nations. In my ideal kind of fantasy world in the future, I believe in an earth with no nations, no borders. I think it is incumbent upon, it's the right of every human to be able to live wherever the fuck they want. I also think it's kind of the right of every human to not have their money involuntarily taken from them through taxation. Sales tax, once again, I've gone on this rant before, is more of a I see it as a voluntary tax. Like, when you're making a purchase, you're paying an additional tax that's going to go to the government. So I think the future of government, nation states, should be built around sales tax exclusively as kind of a transition to a no government state or something along those lines. Once again, I know these are very kind of nebulous concepts, and so I probably sound like a fucking rambling idiot sometimes when I talk about them, but I do believe in my heart I'm on to something. And that's what is best for the future of existence in the universe on planet Earth is less government, more freedom to the individual. So happy birthday to America. I do think it is still in our nation state game we're playing here. That America's our best hope for freedom and like for progressing what it means to be a human being on planet Earth. Is probably the best team to be on. But once again, I believe I don't want to get caught up in this super kind of neoconservative competition amongst nations. I mean, it is kind of the current modern reality, but I do believe in a world beyond those things. Very much. Fucking World Cup, United States, fucking hell. Oh my God. And the women's team was so embarrassing last time in a different way. Like, these guys were try-hard, bumbling idiots they look like in the last game. I remember last World Cup, the women's team just looked like a bunch of arrogant assholes who like gotten used to winning and couldn't really handle the fact that they're under pressure from other nations that wanted it more than they did at this point. And it was kind of laughing it off like, ha, 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 ha. It seemed very kind of diva-y. I don't know. Man, we got to get our shit together, soccer, American soccer. Anyway, that is what it is. Bigger fish to fry around here. I guess. I don't fucking know. What else is popping like in life? Man, I've just been obsessed with the World Cup, so I haven't been following any other sports, really. I'm trying to get back into UFC. We always had UFC White House I talked about on this podcast recently, which was awesome. Fucking incredible show. The best UFC show, even in now a month later or whatever it is. I think the best UFC show ever. UFC event ever. We got UFC 329 coming up this week, and Conor McGregor is back for the first time in a gagillion years. Conor McGregor is my favorite UFC fighter ever. Like, for that era, for like his run, his time, he had like this very kind of brief, hot prime, and there was nothing like it ever. The magic of Conor McGregor in his peak, calling his shot, winning multiple belts, knocking guys out cold, talking shit to an extent, but basically we've never seen to his opponents and even the UFC. Since then, dude, I can't vouch for the guy's personal life, man. He seems like I don't know, maybe this shit's made up. I don't fucking know, but it doesn't look good. This guy seems like a fucking asshole, out of control drug addict, perhaps sociopath, perhaps should be in a cage. You know, if everything that is alleged is true, this dude should probably be in the cage, not UFC octagon, a jail cell for maybe the rest of his life. I don't know. I guess now he's behaving like, I don't know. I don't fucking know, dude. But there's some pretty heinous accusations against this guy that he's gotten past, so I don't fucking know. So it's tough to comment on that. I love the guy in his heyday. Let me put it that way. It was the coolest thing to see was this dude stepping up just like with the embodiment of confidence and ability to back it up at like the highest, most pressure. Honestly, I think you can kind of imagine is stepping to occasion just fighting another person basically naked. You know, you don't see people like talking shit and stuff. I guess you got to do it at war. It's not life or death. Oh, you could die. So yeah, Conor McGregor is back this weekend against Max Holloway, UFC 329. That should be cool, I guess. It would be great to see McGregor put on a like cool performance and be like some resemblance of his old self. I just can't really imagine that happening. Let me see, dude. Last time I did this podcast, like slowly, I kept like slouching on the couch, in which I wasn't even visible. I think I'm still in frame. So that'd be dope to see him like back, but I highly doubt that, especially against Max Holloway, who is like coming off. You know, he's on the downside of his peak, right? So if you're going up the mountain, you peak. That's probably Max Holloway, UFC 300, who knocks out Justin Gaethje, and now we're coming down the other side of his peak. But he's still an elite level fighter, and he's been active. for the past fucking decade, where it's 5 years or whatever. Conor McGregor has not. So it should be good. It'll be awesome to see McGregor back. I just don't have super high expectations. Let me put this thing up on a pillow real quick. Maybe better. I don't fucking know. Yeah. Have not been listening to Rogan. All I've been doing is watching the World Cup. Back training jiu-jitsu, that's fucking great. Jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. I'm trying to go. What am I doing? So I do my yoga pretty much every day. It's 45 minutes to an hour of yoga. Then I go, if it's a training day, which I'm trying to do 2 days on, 1 day off right now. Training day, then I'll do jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai back to back, either no-gi then Muay Thai or Muay Thai then no-gi. Do that 2 days in a row, take a day off, which is today. And so then try to crank out, I don't know, get in somewhere between 8 and 10 classes a week. And I just got to run that until September 1st. What else is going on? In my professional life, I'm working a lot more, kind of working a lot more. I'm still nannying for this young gentleman, 20-month-old gentleman. He's great. He's the man. He's a great baby. And it's really cool to now be part of raising a boy as opposed to girls. It's similar but different, and it's cool. I think I talked about it last time. I feel like I'm harsher on the boy just instinctively, which I need to dial back on, but I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. It's going really well. I love the kid so much. It's crazy how quickly you just like get completely invested in them. And then I'm also working with adults with autism. And the more I work, I'm only working with one guy right now. It's kind of maxed out my schedule, one baby and one adult. The more I work with this guy, I'm like, dude, I need to get my shit together. I feel like this guy's got his shit together more than me. Allegedly, he needs, guidance from me on how to be a functional adult in society and whatever. I'm like, dude, I think I need to take some cues from you. Anyway. Like, I'm like a box of Pokemon cards away from being autistic. It's, I think if you sub out video games as opposed to my like sports watching, I'm autistic. Instead of going to jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, if I just went and like, I don't know, LARPed in the park, which people do in Burbank, doing like fake sword fighting with shields and shit. If I did that instead of going to jiu-jitsu, I think, I think I might just fall into autism. Or I think I already am. I don't fucking know, dude. What is this autism we speak of on this spectrum of normality? What the fuck is normal? What is you hear this term neurodivergent, which I hope is like the peak of woke vocabulary, neurodivergent. Another one is the unhoused instead of homeless. It's like, what are these terms, dude? The unhoused is a crazy thing because it like implies that someone should be providing you housing, and like we forgot to provide these people housing because this, guest house that I pay an exorbitant amount of money for in California, of course, it was provided to me. I didn't house myself. I am housed by some outside force. No, motherfucker, we all have to house ourselves. No one is being housed or is unhoused. It is incumbent upon you to house yourself as a grown-up in America or in the world, It's not something that is provided to you, the unhoused. Oh, we forgot to house these people. What the fuck are you talking about? They're homeless. They don't have a home. The street can be your home, I guess, but anyway, it's a whole long conversation about, you don't have to have a house. You can live in the woods in a tent. I think about that all the time. Get an RV, live in your car. You just can't be a blight on society. I'm rambling. I need to get to the cosmic calendar. The fuck we talking about? Unhoused. The fuck was on? Neurodivergent. Like, what is normal, dude? Who's normal? What is normal? It's like waking up and going to a 9 to 5 in a cubicle and like listening to your boss under fluorescent lights and then like getting in traffic and listening to NPR on the ride home and then like cooking a nice dinner. Is that normal? Like, why is that normal? I think from any perspective, that sounds crazy. So I don't know. What's normal? It's a weird thing. I'm not going to go full into my rant about like my full conspiracy about it. I'm going to leave this one. But there's weird connections between like where all this quote unquote autism is coming from. And then, like, how as a society we treat people with quote-unquote autism, how easy it is to label someone with any sort of mental health diagnosis, and then all of a sudden they get this label of being like, it's like this infantile, and I don't know, it like we just kind of force people in ineptitude and almost like addiction to government services, when really it's like, I don't know, unless you're completely out. Unless you're completely incapable, like physically incapable or intellectually incapable of functioning society and supporting yourself, it's like behavioral and social and these kind of disabilities, these other non-intellectual, right? I'm not talking about someone's cognitive ability. I'm certainly not talking about like someone's a physical ability. But it's like we place these mental health labels on people due to their behavior, ability to interact, and then we place these labels on them, perhaps medicate them, and they're kind of subjective. Well, that's one thing if you're of immediate danger to yourself or others, if that's your behavior disability or your social, emotional disability or whatever. But we're talking about people who just aren't quote unquote normal, or they're super nerdy, or I don't know, they're weird or whatever, and they get this label, and depending on whatever government, go back to government they're functioning in, then all of a sudden it's like we just say that they can't like support themselves or other whatever, and so they get this disability label, and so we support them as a society. It's like, I don't know if that's the way to handle it. I feel like a lot of people that I see that are quote unquote disabled seem like perfectly capable, healthy individuals that quite frankly could provide great like diversity and color and richness to our society if they hadn't been told that they were somehow like broken or flawed. That's a long way to go about a point that I was not prepared at all to make. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to help out a man, and I hope I am, and I think we are. We form a great relationship, but at the same time, I'm like, this dude's helping me out, because that makes me feel like I need to get my shit together even more. So, student-teacher kind of ambiguity there a little bit. That's what's cracking in my life. Let's get on the cosmic calendar. Anything else going on? Anybody? Nobody's here. It's me all by myself with Buzz and Woody. Cosmic calendar. We're on week 9 of the cosmic calendar, studying the history of the universe from the Big Bang, alleged Big Bang, all the way up to where we are now in 2026. This week, we are studying week 9. We're breaking down the cosmic calendar. I have to talk about it every 2 weeks. Long and short of it is, this week, we're studying 2.4 billion years to 2.7 billion years of the universe's existence. And the universe is starting to grow up and mature. It's starting to transition out of its adolescence into adulthood. It's settling down. All of these broader structural arrangements of the universe, the galaxy, the stars that make up the galaxies, that kind of form the broader cosmic web of the universe is really starting to take shape. And everything is kind of starting to operate in concert. We've talked about how like the quasars that were over consuming the material of the universe in previous weeks, those are starting to die down. Black holes are continuing to form, but they're calmer now. Galaxies are continuing to form, but at a less rapid rate. Galaxies are forming at a smaller rate, and they're becoming bigger and more mature. These galaxies, look at this fucking voice I've adopted. These galaxies are still colliding together, dwarf galaxies, smaller galaxies colliding together, kind of merging together to form larger galaxies. Sound like anything to you? It's like the universe operates just like we do as humans, man. It's like companies merging. It's like 2 people coming together to make something bigger, to make 3 people or 4 people. This is exactly what's happening in the formation of the universe. However, these collisions out the universe is kind of slowing down and maturing are happening less frequently. Collisions of galaxies. Galaxies are now kind of, these large galaxies that have been formed by previous mergers are now starting to expand and grow, forming, billions and billions of stars within them. Around those stars now our planets are developing. Planetesimals, even planetary systems. All right, so a planetary system is just any star that has objects orbiting around it. That's a planetary system. A solar system apparently is just exclusive to us, the Milky Way. That's our solar system, our sun. This is what I read. I don't know. It sounds a little weird because I feel like I heard solar system used more generally, but apparently, like when you're talking about objects rotating around a planet, star, objects rotating around a star, That's a planetary system. Whereas our solar system is just specifically our sun and the 8 planets that rotate around it. That's the solar system. Anyway, so galaxies are starting to are continuing to grow, but like less little galaxies out there, and now we're starting to see larger. The mergers are starting to grow themselves, right? And have a ton of little galaxies out there in the universe. If that makes any fucking sense. The Milky Way, our galaxy itself at this point, 2.7 billion years into the universe's existence, has tens of billions of stars. It's like this giant expanding disk, and yes, it does have a super massive black hole at its center, but around that black hole is this continuing expanding galaxy. The Milky Way is truly starting to take shape, and the materials are now completely within the Milky Way for the Earth to later be formed down the road. And this is the same story for the universe more broadly. We're now almost 3 billion years into the universe's existence, so we've seen generations of stars live and die. A star exploding into a supernova, releasing organic materials, elements into the universe that allow more complex life to evolve. So it's like we started with these hydrogen and helium, these two most basic elements, those initial stars that we talked about, population 3 stars. They explode, they burn very hot and live very short lives and explode and to create more complex elements. This process just continues to take place, and the complexity of the elements continues to evolve as more star explosions, star lives, star births, and star deaths continue. So it's with each like nuclear fucking fusion experiment that's going on in the heart of a star, its life, its death, its explosion, the elements that compose that star, when it dies, become more complex. Just like, once again, human beings, right? We used to be simple cavemen, allegedly, living in little caves, or monkeys living in trees, living relatively straightforward lives, waking up, eating, shitting, not being eaten. Our lives today are a little more complicated. After generations of us have lived and died, they've become more complex. The same is applying to the universe more broadly, as individual elements of hydrogen and helium are now, turning into carbon and silicon and iron and magnesium and phosphorus and all of these elements that will eventually compose the Earth itself. Or perhaps, or almost certainly, other life and other planetary systems throughout the galaxy. Something I found kind of interesting is the different types of stars. I was like, because I kept hearing like generations of stars have lived and died. I was like, well, how does a fucking star live? Because we're only 2.7 billion years into the universe's existence. So really generations of stars have lived? Because I thought stars could live for billions of years. Only 2.7 billion years in the universe's existence at this point. So, as we talked about before, there's different types of stars. And I think that this is actually kind of the opposite of humanity. The larger they are, the shorter... No, is that the same? No, that's the same as humanity. Larger you are, the shorter you live. The smaller you are, the longer you live, right? So, giant... Oh, first off, how long does it take for these stars to form? Sorry, this is all like... I kept having more questions as I was reading like the general overview for this week. I kept having separate questions I was investigating. So, first, how long does it take for a star to form? So, for giant stars, it takes about 100,000 to 500,000 years for a star to be born, like the formation process of the star. For stars about our sun's size, which is considered like a medium star, it takes 10 to 50 million years, so much longer. And then for small stars, which will live longer, these are like dwarf stars, it takes 50 to 200 million years just for them to form. So the longer it takes for them to form, it's actually the smaller they will be. So it's actually like, I guess, more dense and powerful and long-lasting the smaller they are. And just like humans, the bigger you are, generally speaking, the shorter your life is. I think smaller people live longer, I believe. Now, the bigger it is, the shorter it takes to form, and also the shorter life it has. How long do these stars live? A giant blue star, which is apparently a type of star, lives 3 to 10 million years. So if the star's living 5 million years and the universe has now existed for 2.7 billion years, okay, now you start to understand how generations of stars have lived and died to get us to this point. A large blue-white star lives 10 to 50 million years. A star like our sun lives about 10 billion years. So I think we have less time in our solar system than I actually new. I don't know the age of the sun exactly or how much longer, but I think kind of maybe we're like halfway through the age of the sun at this point, I believe. Larger than the sun, an orange dwarf lives 20 to 40 billion years, and then red dwarf stars live 100 billion to over 1 trillion years old. It's very interesting to learn this week. No red dwarf star has ever died. So red dwarf stars that have been forming forever since the age of the universe or beginning of the universe, no red dwarf star has ever died. The universe just isn't old enough yet, which is kind of cool to know. Another kind of description I came across with all these different types of stars, you can think of the universe like a forest. The bigger stars are like wildflowers. They live very short lives and release all kinds of organic compounds into the forest to help more complex life grow. A sun-like star is like a nice solid oak tree. It lives a nice long life, but we have seen oak trees die. And then these tiny stars, these like what are they called? Red dwarf stars. They're like, what was the type of tree? They're like hardy trees that can live for tens of thousands of years. So I guess there's like old growth trees that can live for tens of thousands of years. These are like red dwarf stars. So it's just different types of objects in different types of life forms, big and small, that play different roles in the universe. And everything is a microcosm of this macrocosm. It's all kind of this fractal thing. It's occurring on this massive scale in the formation of the universe, and the same shit's happening in our forest here in our tiny little Earth in our own individual lives. Pretty cool. Oh, it's cool to see a couple other things. So at this point, we know that planets exist and planetary system exists. We talked about that already. I came across another term, nebulae. Nebulae, it says, throughout the universe are giving birth to stars throughout the universe. Nebulae, or nebula, is just the name of a like stellar nursery, a star that has lived and died and exploded and becomes like this cloud in the universe that is a place where new stars are born. That's a nebula. A nebula, yeah, it's a stellar nursery, a remnant of old stars, and it's like this beautiful cosmic cloud structure that you can actually see, I guess, with telescopes and shit. Stars, I like to think of, this is another little note I jotted down, they're like the universe's currency. Like the more stars that are being formed, it's like the more currency and material that is out there to build structures in the universe. At this point in the universe's existence, we talked about this for like 5 straight weeks. We're approaching peak star formation, which is known as cosmic noon, where I think we're pretty much there right now. I think we're going to cross there over next week 10, where it's like the highest level of star formation in the universe. And it's like stars. If you have stars forming, then you're going to have material, more complex material. It's like investing in the universe to make more complex shit in the universe. It's just the nature of our existence. It's like sometimes like, why aren't we just sitting and meditating? Why are we all doing so much? Why are we setting our alarms and chugging caffeine first thing in the morning to get out the door to do, run? What is it? But it's like, it's kind of in the nature, I guess, of the universe that everything has this drive to like grow and be bigger and brighter and then die and lay the foundation for something that's even more complex and bigger and brighter and expanding for the next generation. It's like in us who we are or something. It's interesting. But there's something about meditation and being at peace that just also seems like just nothingness that also seems like part of our existence. It's like everything and nothingness, balance, this constant drive to do, but also this drive to just exist in stillness and nothingness. It's super interesting to learn about these concepts both within yourself and then on this universal level, because isn't much of the universe just nothingness? But at the same time, there's like all these fucking stars forming and planets forming and probably aliens flying around in fucking spaceships and intergalactic fucking laser wars and galaxies forming. But at the same time, isn't much of the universe like nothing? Emptiness? It's like both is going at the same time. The same is happening within us. Pretty fucking wild. I'm going to leave it there. Week 9 of the cosmic calendar. Next week, we'll cross in the 3 billion year mark. I love you all. Namaste.